NFL, there were a few different NFL lines that I liked going into the weekend that you could jump ahead of. And if you go to my Pickett Sports account, you will see that I bet 3 different props already for Sunday. So definitely check them out. But I'll give you my long list of NFL props that I have so far, and I'm going to be adding to it. Baker Mayfield under 30.5 pass attempts. He went under in all 3 home wins this year. The Bucs laying 8.5 against the New Orleans Saints. In the home wins this year, Baker's had 29, 23, and 28 pass attempts. Oh, you know what? I should tweet out that we're talking NFL early lines. NFL early prop lines. Tune in now. So, early prop lines. Okay. Baker Mayfield under pass attempts in their wins at home this year, 29, 23, and 28 pass attempts for Baker. The Saints, second least pass attempts per game allowed, 27.5, because the Saints are always freaking losing. So why are we going to waste Bucs quarterback Baker Mayfield throwing the football when they're up by a bunch? Again, 8.5-point spread. Trevor Lawrence over his pass attempts. He's gone over this in 3 of 4, averaging 36 pass attempts a game when facing teams that are bottom 10 against the pass. He's averaging 34 pass attempts in 6 home games this year, Trevor Lawrence. Indianapolis, most pass attempts per game allowed at 38. 9 of the last 10 quarterbacks went over their pass attempt prop against Indy. Brenton Strange over 39.5 receiving yards. He's gone over in 2 of 3 at home this year, 59, 61, 22 receiving yards. Indy's second most receiving yards per game allowed to tight ends. Jonathan Taylor, please look at home road splits. They matter. Taylor's averaging 75 rushing yards a game on the road and 129 at home. His rushing yard prop is 94.5. In Jacksonville in his career, Jonathan Taylor has had 77, 54, and 19 rushing yards. The Jags actually allow the least rushing yards per game to running backs at 64. So with Jonathan Taylor on the road and these two facing off again in a couple weeks, I'm looking away from that. Wide receivers in Baltimore or tight ends as well, but there's 2 that I would look at for longest reception props against the Steelers who allowed the most receiving yards per game to wide receivers. DeAndre Hopkins, over 11.5 yards for his longest reception. He's had 41 and a 15-yard catch at home against the AFC North. Over in 5 of 7 home games this year, averaging 19 yards per longest catch. So you can look to him over 11.5. That number seems very low. The Ravens tight end Isaiah Likely. This is a very crazy trend. Over in 4 straight games against the Steelers, 27, 42, 19, and 25-yard catches for Isaiah Likely. His longest reception prop is 15.5. Isaiah Likely, listen, the storyline has been Mark Andrews all week. He signed the 3-year extension. Isaiah Likely's done so well against Pittsburgh. At home, he's gone over in 3 of 4 against the Steelers. 5 straight home division games Likely went over, and 61% of tight ends have gone over their longest reception prop against the Steelers. So go to Isaiah Likely or DeAndre Hopkins this weekend. Josh Allen over passing yards. I said it earlier. I like him a lot this week against Cincy. 264 and 258 is the passing yards numbers that Allen's had against the Bengals. Over in 4 of 6 at home, averaging 276.5 passing yards a game for Josh Allen this year. I've said this time and time again. Oh, Evan Mobley, illness, a game-time decision. Great. 3 games this year that Josh Allen has faced a team bottom 10 against the pass. 2 of those were at home, and he went over in both. Cincy, 4th most passing yards per game allowed to quarterbacks. 83% of quarterbacks went over their passing yard prop against Cincy this year. You could look to Evan Ingram over his receiving yards against Vegas. They allow under his receiving yards prop against Vegas. He allowed the 3rd least receiving yards per game to tight ends. Jordan Love over 9.5 rushing yards. He's gone over in 4 of 6 at home this year, averaging 14 rushing yards a game. The Bears, 3rd most rushing yards per game allowed to quarterbacks. 58% of quarterbacks went over their rushing yard prop against Chicago this season. Maybe an under for Travis Kelce. Houston's allowed the 5th least receiving yards per game to tight ends. My only concern is Kelce at Arrowhead in primetime has very good numbers. So that was my concern there. Woody Marks, the Houston running back, under his 50.5 rushing yards. He's averaging 34 rushing yards a game with C.J. Stroud. Without him, 60, and Stroud's back. Under in 5 of 6 road games, Woody Marks. Chiefs allowed the 5th least rushing yards per game to running backs. 64% of running backs went under their rushing yard prop against the Chiefs. So if you are going to try to beat the Chiefs, which the spread did move in favor of Houston by a point, 4.5 to 3.5 Chiefs, they're going to make CJ Stroud make throws and throw the football. So I'd be looking to CJ Stroud to throw more and get under on Woody Marks rushing yards.